Hello, everybody. My name is Franklin, and I am really excited today to talk to you about my Spanish reading progress for the fourth quarter of 2019. And I'm so thankful for you if you're here watching the live video or the replay. And we're just going to get this started. So, again, my name is Franklin, and this is 1000hours.com.
Don't give up on your language learning marathon. You can make it. You can make it through your first 1,000 hours.
Okay, so one thing I had said in the beginning of this year, in January of 2019, is that I had a goal to read 12 Spanish books. And I want to be honest with you and let you know, unfortunately, I did not finish or complete that goal. So basically, 2019 is over. I'm talking to you at the last possible time, basically, I could. But I still want to share with you some progress because one of the models of First 1,000 Hours is not to give up on your language learning marathon. And so I did not do that. And even though I had this big goal that I did not finish, I still was able to make progress. And I was able to read. I'm going to just show you my screen real quick, just one second. So the question is, how many pages did I read in Spanish in the fourth quarter of 2019? And so this is how many pages I read. I read approximately 365 pages. And so the other question is, how many pages did I read in Spanish in 2019? And the total amount of pages I read was approximately 1,480 pages. And I remember as I was getting ready to be prepared for this report, I was thinking, oh man, I have read two books. I read Hogar Cristiano, and I also read El Deseado de Todas las Gentes, but I wanted to read some smaller books as well. And so one of them was Esperanza para la Familia, or Hope for the Family. And then also there was another one, the English title is called Thoughts from the Mount of Blessing, about the Beatitudes and other things about about Christ. But the thing is, I had not finished those books, and it was like probably around like December 20th. I had already started reading them, but I was like, you know what? I am not going to finish 2019 without finishing those two books. And so I was able to finish the second book this morning. So I was able to finish reading four books, and all of those four books added up to approximately 1,480 pages. So if you have been following First 1,000 Hours, you know that I have been changing my goal for 2020 from a book goal to a page goal, because then I can read whatever type of book I want. And I think it's just a lot better. If I had divided, if you divide, 1,480 by 100, and let's say if I had made a book or defined a book as 100 pages, then I would have met the 12 book goal. But I didn't do that, so I'm just going to say I didn't complete that. But there are lessons to still learn from this experience. So what I want to do first, before I go into some of those lessons, is I want to show you the progression of the words that I have read from like 2018 basically to basically right now. So I'm going to start with showing you a compilation of a video about my reading progress. So we'll watch that right now. It says palabras leídas. That means words read. That is 473,901 words read. At the bottom of the screen, you should be able to see how many words that I have read with LingQ, and it says 617,256 words of reading. And that is, you can see it right here, 745,093 words. Okay, so basically I read in like the third quarter, at the end of the third quarter, I had read over 700 something words in Spanish. So I want to give you an update of what my word count is now with LingQ. And so we're just going to show you my screen so that you can go ahead and see that. So just bear with me here as I learn more about live streaming. Okay, so here's the page of LingQ. And so I'm going to show you in the last 3 months how many words I have read. And you can see here that is 337,291 words that I have read. Okay, and then I'm now going to show you all time what I have read. And you can see here it's almost 1.1 million words. So at one point I was thinking in this year, I was thinking, whoa, you know, it'd be nice to get up to reading at least 1 million words in Spanish. And I have actually passed that by God's grace. Okay, and so another thing I wanted to share with you was this whole idea of my mentality when it comes to reading, because sometimes you can think, okay, you know, I never think I can actually pick up like 100-page book. Like this was the first book I sought to read. Sorry, let me change my screen. I was trying to read this book. This is my first one, El Camino a Cristo. And I was like, whoa, this is really big. You know, there's a lot of pages in here and all of these things. And but I want you to know that I can now. I have a different mentality, and I'm able to not worry about like a small book like this. I can pick up any type of Spanish book, and that's why I'm going to be reading this one called Cómo Salir de la Depresión. This is going to be my first book. It's a really big book and all of this, but I'm going to share with you the progression. But I see I have a comment. Thank you so much. So this comment is from someone named YouTube, and so you were just asking this question. So what you were asking, like, did I read different words for the 1.1 million words? And I would say no. I'm going to go back and show you my screen here to LingQ. There are different ways that you can look at your reading progress with LingQ. So I'm showed you the words that I have read, okay? But then there's also something called known words, and so this is what LingQ basically says I know in Spanish. And so I think a rule of thumb when it comes to known words is to divide your known word count by 3, and because LingQ counts variants of words. And so if you now I should know how to do that, right? I'm sorry, but I'm going to actually do this because I use Google here. So if I look at my known word count, then that would be about, if I divide it by 3, that's 8,334 words. So that would be the unique words that I basically have done with reading with LingQ. Now, I've not just read with LingQ. I've also read outside of LingQ last year, but this year I've been just reading with LingQ. So I read 2 books outside of LingQ last year. Okay. So yeah, LingQ, I have a description of LingQ in this video. So you can actually go through my affiliate link if you want to use LingQ, and I do get a commission if you become a paid subscriber. Now, if you don't want to use LingQ, then you can also use the Google Translate web extension, and I have a video about that. And that is a free tool that you can use to help you read as well. I like LingQ because it tracks my reading progress, and I think what gets tracked basically gets done a lot of times. And so I just like to keep on going, you know, and also understand what I'm doing. So that's why I do these quarterly reports and all of this. And I'm glad that my channel is giving you some inspiration. And so I just want to talk a little bit about that. Like what I was saying is that when I looked at this book, this was really scary for me to kind of read this book. This is a high-level book. It's written for native Spanish speakers and all of this. And now my mentality has changed to the point where my 2020 goal is, one of them is to read 2,000 pages in Spanish. And so I want to show you a different mentality shift as I share with you the next video. Okay, so just 1 second. I'm about to pull that on the screen. And here we go. And I'm really excited to be here today to talk about language goals. And I want to just let you know a little bit about my 2018 big language learning goal, and that was to read 450 pages. And I was able, and I'm thankful to say, I was able to complete my goal of reading 450 pages. And not only was I able to complete that, but I was able to exceed that by by a lot. I finished reading El Camino de Cristo in April of 2018, and then I decided in the almost the end of the year that I didn't just want to read 450 pages, but I wanted to read 6 Spanish books. So in 2018, at the beginning, I remember getting on WhatsApp and I was telling people, oh wow, I think I can read 450 pages in Spanish. And that was like a big deal for myself. But, you know, as we continue and we continue on the language marathon and all of this, then by God's grace, you know, we grow in skills and abilities. And so 450 pages, like, it's not a big deal to do that for 2020. And I would say that if you go and look at my playlist called Reading in a Foreign Language, and I'll put the link up here. You can go ahead and click that card up here. I think anybody on this channel with the tools in that playlist, from understanding the mentality, understanding strategy, also the tools that I talk about like the Google Translate web extension and LingQ, anybody should be able to at least read 250 pages for native level speakers in their target language for 2020. That is the bare minimum. Okay? And yeah, exactly, YouTube. What gets measured gets managed. And so that's one of the reasons why I like to talk about First 1,000 Hours, is because it's language learning around a specific goal. Okay? And so I wanted to say that. And so again, I did not meet the goal of reading 12 books in Spanish. But again, I read 1,480 pages approximately. And I wanted to share with you something I said about having a big goal and what happens if it fails or whatever, or you don't get to where you want to go. And so we'll watch that video right now. Now, why do I say we should do big goals? Why don't I just say, you know, for us to accomplish small goals this year? I know in the language learning community, sometimes I think it's encouraged for us to just do small goals. And I think one of the reasons why we encourage people to just do small goals is because we don't want people to fail in trying to be too ambitious. But in my opinion, I think it's better to be very ambitious, and if you don't exactly get to your goal that you had, at least you will be further along than if you were not ambitious at all. So I'm so glad that I had a big goal. I'm so glad that I tried to challenge myself. I'm so glad that I didn't just stick with trying to just try to learn 450 pages. Try to read only 450 pages, but I was like, okay, if I can do that by God's grace, then I can do something even further than that. And I hope that you are challenging yourself, and I hope that you will have a big goal for 2020. And I want to put up a card right here to that video that I talked about when I was talking about having a big goal for 2019, because it's important to know what do I mean by a big goal. A lot of people are talking about language learning right now and their goals and all of that, but sometimes they have a different mentality than maybe what I'm sharing on First 1,000 Hours. And it's important to know how to define what a goal is, what is a big goal, and all of that. So that is basically what I wanted to share today with you. Again, I want to encourage you to go to, if you haven't already, to go and look at the playlist. I want to encourage you to go and look at the playlist. Actually, I'm sorry. This is a live video that I messed up a little bit. I want to share with you, before I go into all that, some of my milestones in 2019. Like I said, I read 1,480 pages in Spanish. And at this point, I would say, based on my estimate of my estimated hours, I would say that I just have completed my first 1,000 hours with Spanish. I'm really excited about that. So when I say I can inspire and motivate you to complete your first 1,000 hours of your language learning marathon, that's something that I've actually done myself. And so I believe that gives a little bit more credibility to the channel. And I can actually call this a channel because I just have created, with this live video, this is the 50-second public video that I've done live for First 1,000 Hours. This was one of my big goals for First 1,000 Hours, was to define a channel as 52 public videos. And so I just have done that by doing this video right before 2020 started. And I'm really happy to call First 1,000 Hours a channel, and that tells me as well that I'm actually serious about what I'm doing, instead of just saying, oh yeah, I just started a video or created a video, now I'm serious. No, I'm serious, and I just feel like I just started my channel because I just finished 52 videos. And I again want to remind you that you should be able to go and click a video playlist to find out how what I'm talking about reading in a foreign language. I give you tips and strategies and tools that I believe will be very helpful. And then I also want to encourage you to also look at the video that YouTube is recommending again. And yes, I'm so happy for you, YouTube, and for your goal as well. And my name is Franklin, and I hope to see you in the next video.